I was going to say beef, but not so much, I guess. Here's an example of a comedian who's taking things well. We talked about Joe Matarese and Mark Maron, I guess. Both these guys could learn from the way this man reacted, and that would be Howie Mandel, who...
Yes.
Howie Mandel's gotten a lot of reaction online lately. There was the Dana White thing. I saw our boy, not Joke World, Too Lazy to Try. He's made a couple of videos about Howie Mandel recently. And I looked into him, and I didn't find anything interesting. I kind of like Howie Mandel. I liked his recent Matt and Shane appearance. I thought he was very funny on there. But people seem to hate him recently, and he's gotten the attention of Redbar, Mike David from Redbar, who, as I said earlier, if he ever attacks this program, I'll just join in with him because he'll be spot on. And that's the way I think you kind of should approach those things. But not everyone does, as we've seen in comedy. So I think Howie Mandel actually has the right attitude. So it got back to him that Redbar was talking about him. And this is pretty rare, and I think good for Howie Mandel, a guy of his stature. I mean, whatever you think of his comedy is one thing. Like, I've never seen his stand-up. All I know is that he blew a glove up on his head, so right. I don't know how respected he was. But, like, a guy of his level of fame, the guy hosts America's Got Talent, and he hosted a massive game show and everything, like, very famous. So for him to play along like this, I think is a positive thing.
I don't mind negativity. I watch, when I hear about negativity, I watch it like just people that there's a guy named Redbar who has I actually like the guy. And,
his podcast.
He
hates us. He hates me too.
But he hates everything about me. I think he hates everything about me, but it makes me laugh.
So Howie Mandel goes on, and that's his daughter with him, who his daughter has fun with it. And then this other guy, I think his name is Lou. I wasn't familiar with him, and I couldn't figure out who he was exactly. But he takes it so poorly, and Howie has to teach him throughout the whole thing, like, no, this is actually a good thing. And stop going against us on this. It completely detracts from what we're doing. But Howie actually is like a good sport about this stuff. And I would say to people like Stuttering John and Joe Matarese, like, learn from this. Both because Howie Mandel's career is so much further along than you guys, but also, like, this is the right attitude to get people on your side. How much more endearing is this? Can you imagine if Howie Mandel got on his podcast and was like, oh, yeah, Redbar. Oh, yeah, Lady Redbar. Well, here's a picture of your father who's dying of cancer. How much less would you want to be on that guy's side than what we're hearing here?
Significantly. But here he is just showing he's got the right attitude.
Okay.
I don't know, but he hated us.
But I don't mind being hated.
It's okay to be hated, but he's doing it with such a superior attitude, as if he's accomplished anything in his life.
He's got a really good podcast.
He has a podcast.
He's got a good podcast criticizing other podcasts.
What's his name?
Redband. I don't know what his real name is. Redbar.
Poor Brian Redband. He always gets that shrapnel.
Yeah.
I don't know why people always make that mistake, but Redbar, Redband. Everyone gets that wrong.
Boy, that Lou guy is really looking rough since he yelled at that trumpet player in Long Island.
I don't know the reference.
Just said silently.
And on his podcast.
So do I. I give him a thumbs up. I give him a heart. And the harder he goes on me, the more here's the way I feel.
I don't understand that.
What do you mean?
I don't understand that. I mean, he's clearly going out of his way to belittle you. And
it doesn't belittle me. Here's
and I know it's not doing that to you, but that's his whole reason.
No, it isn't.
How great is Howie Mandel's attitude here?
It's amazing.
Where he's like, no, shut the fuck up, Lou, or whatever your name is. And for some reason, like, the way this guy Lou is reacting is kind of the way we're taught to react. And again, if you want to talk about societal issues, Mark Maron, that's a societal issue, is that if someone like criticizes you, you're kind of taught to be like, oh, well, they have problems, actually. They're the ones with the problem. Where sometimes that's true, and other times it's just a guy fucking around, you know? And Howie Mandel looks at it and says, like, no, this guy, he's not just some scumbag. He's been successful. Like, he does a good show that people seem to enjoy, even if it's not for Howie. Like, maybe Howie Mandel won't sit down and watch 6 hours of Redbar, but, like, people obviously enjoy it, and Howie Mandel has an understanding of that. I wouldn't have expected this from Howie Mandel. Because, like, he feels kind of removed from stand-up just because he's famous for so many other things.
Yep.
So you would expect a guy like this to be stuffier. But also like certain guys just think they're above responding to someone like Redbar for some reason, where I liked it, how he's having fun with it. This makes me respect him a lot more.
Here he's talking about Radio City.
Okay, so Howie Mandel played Radio City Music Hall, obviously massive 7,000 seat venue in New York City, and he sold it out twice in one night.
And Marin was furious.
The guy just fucking blows a glove up on his head. I don't get it.
Well, to be fair, too, we played. I don't remember what show we were talking. We played a clip of Howie talking about that, and he's like, "I don't know why people laugh at it, so I just keep doing it."
It was him and Carrot Top. We talked about in the Carrot Top episode of Why You Laughing.
Yes.
Yeah. So Howie Mandel's always had a good perspective on this stuff, but he's telling the story about him selling out Radio City and why that relates to him getting criticized here.
But I realized that in this city of one of the biggest cities in the world, of maybe in Manhattan, there's like 10 million, or New York City, there's 10 million people.
I'm still counting.
Okay. 14,000 people came to see me, which means 9,986,000 people don't give a shit. And what I realized,
There are only so many seats.
how
You shouldn't
That's
take
fair,
it so
David.
personally, of course. Don't that's pretty extreme. I don't mean to interrupt Howie. He's a legend. Excuse me.
Statistically, if there was 2 sellouts, more people would want to go.
That's true. If he had a third show and it didn't sell out, maybe you could have this perspective. But no, you're correct. There are only so many seats.
successful you think you are, no matter how, there's always mostly people who don't give a shit and a lot of people who don't like what you're
That's
doing. You know,
weird thinking, man.
But
This guy sucks. Who is this guy?
Looks like a bum. You want to elaborate on that trumpet joke? Is there something he did?
Oh, do you not recall? I don't, of course it just looks similar. I can't imagine to be the same person. I don't think that person works in media. But that old, that short Jewish man that was screaming at the trumpet player in Long Island to stop playing. He said, "You can't even hold a note." It was a big viral video years ago. And I believe last year that person was actually interviewed on the news and kind of giving his defense of the whole scenario. And he came off as a much more reasonable person. Maybe now he's working with Howie.
I kind of figured it was something like that, but I'm glad Craig stopped the show in order to make sure we had that clear.
I saw him again, and I was like, I have to ask.
But how annoying is this guy? He's like, no, Howie, you should be really angry about this.
Your day should be wrecked.
Actually, Howie, you should be suicidal because Mike David made fun of you.
But Howie's telling him to keep doing it.
Yeah, good. See, this is the way to be. Just Stuttering John and all you people. And this is kind of what I tried to get across to Tom Myers is like, this is the way to approach this stuff. This is how you get people on your side. And Tom had a little bit of that when we interviewed him, where you could see in the comments, some people were like, okay, I'm starting to come around in this Tom Myers. Maybe he can be a little more playful than I thought. This is the way you should handle criticism. Now, I mean, obviously, if someone goes fucking crazy and talks about your family or just being an asshole, whatever, that's a different story. But what I'm saying is, I've listened to plenty of WATP. I've never heard Carl be, nasty, where I'm like, I can't believe he's saying that. So if that's the tone, why spend your life, Stuttering John, with a vendetta against the criticism against you? Be more like Howie Mandel.
Louis probably told Howie, mention how you wrote for the Ben Bailey roast.
That is a good credit to bring up, yes.
but he just rips every moment.
Yeah,
He hates me.
He's not worthy of having an opinion of it.
Yes,
Why?
he
Yes, he is. Everyone can have an opinion.
Yes, he is. I love you.
commented too. I think I said something
Keep
nice.
fucking with me.
Redbar, fuck you.
No, fuck with me. I'm telling you, it
They
doesn't
didn't like
bother
my
me.
hair. They said that I look like someone else because my hair sucks.
You know what? First of all,
Your voice
here's-
sounds like a
here's the way I-
clothespin is on your balls. How about that, Redbar?
Wow,
You-
you got
you're
him.
so-
You got him. You got him. Lou got him. Lou got him bad.
Go fuck with this show, man.
Because you know that if you put a clothespin on your balls, you know how that changes your voice every time.
I have to tell you, I do like it though, and he is good at what he does because
No, he's-
I sat through our whole podcast and our whole interview, and I was still entertained all the way through his take on our interview.
Even the daughter has the red. And like Redbar made fun of Howie Mandel's daughter, and he's still saying like, "Keep going, Redbar. We like him." And this Lou guy's like, "Fuck him." I don't get why Lou's so worked up about it.
He's even more angry than I recalled when I was cutting these.
It's very weird that he's so angry. But yeah, I wanted to play those because someone actually mentioned it in the Matter East chat to Joe, and it was like, "Hey, you should watch Howie Mandel. He talks about Redbar." And Joe goes, "Oh, I will. He gives it back to Redbar. I'm gonna watch that." And it's like, oh, when I watched this, I was like, "Oh no, Joe, this is the playbook that you've been missing for so many years."
Is that Redbar commenting at all how they're, I watched that clip and I wonder about their body language. The daughter and Howie constantly have their backs to each other, even though they're both at a table. They should both kind of be facing forward. And then he's throwing his arm around and she's constantly kind of covering her head. I wonder if she's used to accidentally being smacked in that setup, and they've kind of, because they always have their backs to each other, it seems like.
Oh, interesting. You'd think with Howie's history, it wouldn't be such close quarters. You'd think people would be spread out for fear of
Right,
germs
maybe
and
he's
whatnot.
afraid of coughing. He says, the whole show, can we just keep back to back?
It's his offspring, though, so maybe it's different.
Sure, maybe. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, shout out to Howie Mandel because it seems like he's got the absolute right attitude.
Definitely.
Where should we go next?